Adrian, family and friends, I will start by reciting the first pasuk of Sefer Tehillim, chapter 70, representing my birthday today. L'Netzach v'Dod Haskir, Elohim Latzalenu, Yivrei Le'ezri Chushon. There are many other verses, but I won't bore you with those, but that was the first pasuk. There are many interpretations in Jewish tradition as to whether one should celebrate a birthday. The consensus is that it is a nice custom, and if the party has some Torah content, learning, it becomes a Sudat Mitzvah. I'll make a few remarks of the relevance of 7, as my son Ilan has, and of course my wife Adrian has. And so the relevance of 7 and its multiples in Jewish life and tradition. On researching the significance of 7, I came up with a total of 49 different relevances in Jewish tradition, from the creation of the world to Jacob having worked for 7 years in order to marry his wives, the 7 blessings we recite at the wedding, the 7 special species of produce from Israel, and the 7 times the bride circles of Chatan under Chuppah, just to name a few. It was the Maharal of Prague that wrote, "The cycle of nature is in 7. The number 7 represents the entirety of the world, which was created in 7 days." He goes on to say that any number times 10 is its expansion to its full potential. He elaborates by saying that the number 70 represents critical turning points of history. After the flood, there were 70 nations, 70 languages emerged at the Tower of Babel, and the Jewish nation began with the 70 people that went to Egypt with Yaakov Avinu. We know that God has 70 names. We know that the Bible gave 70 names. The Bible has 70 names, and we celebrate 70 holy days each year. 52 Shabbatot, 18 days of Chagim, including Chol HaMoed of Pesach and Sukkot. I gave some thought to the relevance of 7 to me, right? The first significant 7 to me was in 1966. I went to Israel in June of 1966. I lasted 7 months, and I came back. I returned to Israel, returned to Australia in January 1967. I then leapfrogged to December 1974, when I met Adrian, who was transiting Melbourne after attending New Zealand at the marriage of her brother, and on her way back to Israel, and she came here to visit Selwyn and to spend some time and to earn a few dollars so she could subsist in Israel. She never made it. We were engaged 7 months later. Well, let's question the dollars, because 7 months later we were engaged, right? And we got married on October the 7th, 1975. Most recently, I returned from New York on Wednesday, having been there for 7 days, attending the bris of my 7th grandchild, as Ilan mentioned, Amiel Yair. What is probably most significant is that our learned rabbis assume that the average lifespan of a person is 70 years. It is appropriate to say thanks that I've achieved this milestone in good health, surrounded by my dear wife Adrian and my children Ilan, Daniel and Naomi, together with their families Tori, Ariel, Libby and Nessa, and of course Rachel, Kira, Eitan, Noam and Amiel in New York. And of course, Naomi, who, thank God, is visiting from Israel to be here with us, and all of you, our friends in Melbourne, and those that were not able to attend because of their travels overseas. When Adrian suggested she wanted to invite a few friends over to celebrate my 70th, my reaction was no. We were having a family dinner, which we did last night at the home of Tori and Ilan, which I thank Tori and Ilan for publicly because it was absolutely fantastic. We had the family there, and we had a great time. I thank my brother for coming from New Zealand, together with Kay, and of course, I thank Jeff and Talia, who came from New Zealand. And let me just make a reference to the fact that Jeff never has missed a simcha from the very first day that we met, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And of course, I thank Selwyn, together with his children, who were all there last night. And as I said, Tori did an absolutely wonderful job in hosting the dinner last night, and the food was unbelievable, as is evident when you look at my physical. Of course, Naomi, who is here from Jerusalem, her home. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law. He's not well enough to be here this evening in body, although she is here in spirit. I spoke to her earlier on this evening, and she wished me all the best. And considering that I'm the only son-in-law that she has, she's got no option. But she did think me. She does, I believe, value her son. I don't know whether she values me or the fact I look after her daughter, but she's thrilled that she's back at Emi Monash, and hopefully she'll be moving to a new accommodation the next few days, which we're extremely pleased. To all of you, here present this evening, thank you for coming. Thank you for those that travelled, as I said, to Jeff from overseas, and extremely thank you for the good wishes. In particular, I thank you all for supporting the two charities this evening, the Mizrahi Charity Fund. Most of you know what the Mizrahi Charity Fund does. Gary is here, and Yvonne, who chairs the fund. She distributes through the charity fund somewhere vicinity of about $140,000, Danny will correct me if I'm wrong, annually to those that need it, and thank you for supporting that. The other charity that I chose for you to collect to or give to was Bet Raphael. Those of you who don't know what Bet Raphael does, it provides accommodation at 3 hospitals in Melbourne for those that need it to be able to attend and be there when their kids or family are in hospital. We also now have 2 vans, 2 vehicles that transport people backwards and forwards wherever, and it's a fantastic facility and it's unbelievable. It's growing, and more publicity will be available in the next short while about what they do and how we should support what they do. And it's an unbelievable thing that Shimon Allen, together with his wife Adina, have created this of their own goodwill to service the community. So it's absolutely unbelievable. In conclusion, and there always is a conclusion, let me quote Rabbi Sachs, the former Chief Rabbi of the British Commonwealth, and Rabbi Mervis. Shimon's and Rabbi Mervis are still here, and we look forward to your installation of the Rabbi of our community, and I wish you myself. Rabbi Sachs said that on March 27, 2012, when the Queen was celebrating her Diamond Jubilee, the President of the then Board of Jewish Deputies included in his speech the traditional Jewish blessing on such occasions, where he wished her well at Mea Vesrim until 120. The Queen looked at Prince Philip and was amused. Right? The Prince later asked what it meant when he was told till 100, what it meant to say Ad Mea Vesrim till 120. And he was told that 120 is stated as the outer limit of the normal lifetime. The number we know is especially associated with Moses, who was 120 years old when he passed away. Moses was a model of how to age well with growth of human longevity. This has become a significant challenging issue for many of us. How do you grow old and stay young? Thank you, Halsey. Happy birthday for you, 70 yesterday. She beat me to it. And let me just also say that some of my oldest friends that are around the table, Ray Rockman, Yaakov Abrahami, who said 55 years, and I still remember we went to school at Caulfield North together. We were all in B'nai Akiva together. Theo and I were in a DAS many, many years ago. And it's interesting, actually, as an aside, just totally unrelated to what I wrote, we celebrated today the call-up of Judy Siegel's granddaughter's future Chatan. We live in one community. And we were at the Kiddush after the service at the synagogue. Rabbi Con will acknowledge what I say. But I was standing outside the home of the Koch family, and a gentleman came in wearing a strommel and a bekitcher and whatever. And you know, I was brought up, as some of you know, in the Adas community in my many younger years. And of course, I sometimes know in inverted commas, how to play the role. So as this gentleman walked in with the Stromal and Bakaja, I said, Shabbos Rabbi, Smach Yid, you know. So he said, Shabbos, you know, you have the right inclination of tones as you talk to this person. So I said to him, and so he said, from waar komt men? From where are you from? I said, ik ben van Dorp, ik ben van Melbourne. No, from waar stamt u? Where you actually come from? So I said, I come from Czechoslovakia. He said, Czechoslovakia? He says, I come from Czechoslovakia. I said, where from? I said, from Michalovce, where I was from. He says, I'm from Michalovce. Thank you. So we're suddenly brothers. So I said, and where do you daven? It was the next one. I said, I daven in Mizrachi. I didn't say Mizrachi. I got to get the right name. Mizrachi. He says, good Shabbos, and he walked off. Anyway, that being said,
I'll go behind you. I'm sorry.
coming back to where I was in the drafting of my few words, the number, as we know, is especially associated with Moshe, who was 221 years old when he died. Moshe was a model of how to age well with the growth of human longevity. This has become a significant and challenging issue for most of us because we are living considerably longer than we were many years past. How do you grow old, as I said, and how do you stay young? What was extremely striking in Moshe Rabbeinu was that it would have been easy for him to retire into the inner world, recalling his achievements, or he could have brooded after having spent 40 years leading the nation of Israel through the desert. He would never personally enter the land of Israel. While the body may age, the spirit may stay young. Ad Me'er Israel at 120. Hopefully, what am I doing?
She's on the phone.
Well, she can't be on the phone to our son because it's Shabbos in New York. Hopefully I will, as Moses did. He looked forward as well as looking back. I will continue to share my experiences and good health with my family and friends around us, and continue to give back to the community that we all have and continue to benefit from. May we all merit that in our lifetime we will see peace in the world, and particularly in our homeland, the state of Israel. When all the 70 nations of the world, as mentioned in Breshit, unite as one. Last but not least, thank you, Adrian, for organising this wonderful centre, and of course, thank you all for coming to share with us this occasion.
Beautiful.